Welcome back to another review and feedback. I have a Terran versus Protoss game, which is different than what we've been doing. The players that we have in this match are asking how to make it so they don't have a similar or repetitive game every time. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try and talk a little bit about standard builds and not take too long spending on that. And we're going to talk about opportunities and things like that as we go through it. That being said, these players, APM, is on the low end. So I will probably be speeding it up here and there throughout the match. So just fair warning. I have not watched this at all, so I have no idea what to expect. But I do see a little bit of information on the Drop.SC file. So without further ado, here we go. In red, we have Kopitiam at... Oh, goodness, it's a long match. Okay. In red, we have Kopitiam as Terran. And in blue, we have Phantom as Protoss. Gotta mess up pronunciation immediately, right? So first things first. Workers need to be under construction immediately. This is just income lost. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at your resources up in this corner. You want that to be as close to zero as possible without hitting maximum supply. Obviously, this is showing both players, but I just want you to be aware, that's the goal, is to make it so that you have this not hitting the same number at top and this number being zero. That's your goal while playing. So when you put down a structure, a supply depot, to create a wall, every single map that is a ladder map is built for, in 1v1s, built to have two, one corner, and two. The reason being is for Terran. You could put a barracks right here, supply depot here, another supply depot here, and you can create a wall off. This is intended, it's designed that way. The map makers are kind of forced to do that. So when you build your wall, you want to make sure you do that. The other piece is once you start getting gas, you want to saturate it as fast as possible as Terran. Protoss, other than the fact that he's not actually getting it, you don't need to get it immediately unless you're doing a build that requires you to get it immediately. And good job catching that. I'm glad that he saw the idle workers. So I believe in the default, it's F1 layout, where you can see over here, I can't as I am casting the game, I see both players. That might be me that has that. That tells you how many idle workers either player has. Make sure you don't have idle workers. The way that you could do that is you could hold shift and click. That won't actually improve your APM. It'll make it so that you have your workers being more efficient. So, all right. So standard builds. Oh my goodness. Is also, as soon as you build a barracks, build an orbital. You generally want 3 orbitals in your first 3 first 3 bases as fast as possible. So, the standard build for Terran, for Bio standard build, okay? There is other builds, there are mech builds, there's cheese builds, there's all that kind of stuff. Standard Bio. SCV immediately, build SCVs continuously. Build after your first SCV a supply depot, usually either here or here on your ramp. That's true for basically every map. Then you continue to build additional SCVs until you finish your supply depot, and then you build a barracks. The timing of which should be basically perfect. You should have 0 resources if you do it perfectly. Then you grab a gas as soon as you throw it on the barracks. So it goes SCV, supply depot, barracks, refinery, basically. Then, if you want to wall off immediately, you're worried about a cheese like a zealot proxy or a zealot coming running across the map, then you can put down a supply depot, and then you put your command center in the back. Oh my goodness, no. Or you can put a command center down on the low ground. Now, the reason you put the command center on the low ground is so you don't have to lift and move it. It takes a very long time. Your opponent generally has to do the same thing because of Protoss. It's a very early sensor tower. You usually don't build sensor towers until after your third or fourth base, depending on the map and positioning and what your opponent's doing. If they're doing lots of drops, you want to put sensor towers like here, so that way you have early warning from those locations, and you put like one way out here. And that way you have your third base covered, your natural covered, and your main covered. Great scouting. That's really good. I really like that. I'm not watching your cameras, so just I know that there's opportunities to improve. If you build an engineering bay, okay, so order of upgrades for Terran. Always stim first if you're playing bio. Then +1 in combat shield should be about the same time, or combat shield first. Either way, it doesn't matter. Then concussive, unless you see a lot of stalkers. We're talking like 20-ish, 15-ish, and at that point you should be building a bunch of marauders. You want to climb the tech tree, so after your second barracks, you want a factory. No energy bay at this point, you should be getting your tech lab. As soon as you put down your factory, you should get your second gas. The first unit out of your barracks is usually a Reaper. That's for scouting, so you know if your opponent's going to cheese you. At lower levels, just having Marines coming out is sufficient, but you do need that tech lab pretty quick and a reactor pretty quick. It's called a 2-1-1, where you have 2 barracks, factory, and a starport. You usually have 2 bases when you do that with 2 orbitals. Make sure you have that. And you generally are dropping mules constantly, or using, and the third mule is instead a scan to find out what your opponent's doing if you didn't build a Reaper. You then want a starport. Well, I don't know why you'd go factory in a Ghost Academy. But you want a factory into starport, and then you get a reactor on your factory, and you get you swap the factory and starport, and you get double medevacs. The reason you do that is so that you could drop in your opponent's base. Like, imagine if you put 16 Marines right here, and he had no idea you were putting them there. This army can't beat it. You're able to unpower his production, and you're able to just probably kill him if you had 16 Marines a minute ago. Right here. Actually, about 30 seconds ago. That's like a high plat, low diamond build. If you just dropped it in the right location, you can easily get to that level of play. This is a old map. It's not a ladder map, so when you do your 1v1s, I would check from ladder maps, because you have this weird entrance over here. There's no rocks or anything here. You have an open space here. So if you're playing Zerg, and your opponent's playing anything else that's not Zerg, you can literally just run in over here or over here with Lings very quickly, and then you keep them on one base while you get, 4 bases without having to worry about anything. Spending your money is super important. But after you get the 2-1-1, you go to a 5-1-1, so you get 5 barracks, and that's when you should be roughly getting your third command center. You want to put your turrets in places that are where you're vulnerable, your mineral line. So if you literally put a turret right here, you're going to protect yourself from what's about to happen, which you're going to lose a lot of workers. But imagine if there's a turret there just shooting them. Boom, 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 boom. And while they are controlling it, you would not be losing 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to lose almost all of it. You're going to lose a lot of these. 9, 8 workers for an Oracle. That's easy money. Like this, if you just put a sensor tower here, you would know on your mini map that he's over here when he was coming, and then you could put your Marines in the mineral line. Or you put the turret right there, and you don't even have to worry about moving your Marines around. Same with over here. You want a turret right around here. If you look at each one of the bases, you can see, like, I'll do a turret here, turret right in the middle. Cannons are alternatives. Spore crawlers also work. So this unit is the equivalency of like a cloaked banshee, a banshee, but then you have cloak. So if you did the same thing he did, but had cloaked banshees, that would change your gameplay up completely and utterly. This base is much stronger for both players. The only thing you have to worry about is like a Warp Prism transition for the Protoss, or for the Terran, and for the Protoss, the Medivacs. So I could see... Yeah, no, you'd want this base. This is always going to be your third for both. This is way too far, because you don't want to position your army here, because there's lots of small choky things. You built a small choky thing, etc. What you want to do is you want to park your army like on the ramp, or kind of like right in this area. And then if you like put out pylons out in the middle of the map, so you know that the Marine army is coming, you know to get like positionally. Also, clearly your opponent plays with you often, so he knows you do hidden bases. Got 9 kills. So what I would suggest is not doing hidden bases anymore, just against this person explicitly, because what they're going to do is they're going to keep trying to find that hidden base that you're just never going to have. All right, other things. Hotkeys. Shift is to append to the group. Control is to add new. So you can do Control 1, Control 2, Control 3. I suggest putting your command centers on one key, your production on another, your upgrades on another, and your army on another, and then have enough space for your spellcasters. Since you're using ghosts, cool, but they're very hard to control, and they're very fragile for somebody that is not really, really strong in the game. When you get to the very upper echelons of gameplay, ghosts are really, 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 really powerful, but for somebody at your skill level, not quite there. Combat shield's huge. It means you get 1 free stem, is the way I think about it. It's like, oh, my Marines are pretty tanky, pretty annoying to deal with at 45 health. Let's give them 55 health, or 45 health, and have stem once. So you want Combat Shield. That's a super huge, important upgrade. Make sure you get that. Starports, you always, always, always want to have a tech lab or a reactor on it, even if you're building those on other bases as you're building it. The reason being is that the reactor, I mean, it's a starport. It's like a high-end end-game investment. You need to be ready for that. Oof. You can repair. 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 You could finish your construction. You can repair. You're going to lose this base for essentially nothing. And that stinks. Did some shield hull damage. But yeah, this is... Ooh, nice. Flyby. Some action happening. Look at how fast they are. Don't forget to use your afterburner. It's... I know you can't see it behind me. It's B. In my schema. Drop, 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 drop. Drop, 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 drop. Nope, keep dropping. You have a bigger army. You win. Stem. 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 Just stem once. Don't have to target fire or anything. Just stem once. You'll win the game. That is so many pylons along the back. I guess that's one way to not get supply capped. Yeah, too much micro. Just literally stem once, and you would have won everything. You'd have destroyed all of it. Yeah, just nope, nope. Don't need that. Drop that. Unload. You'll kill him. Unload it. This is literally game over if you unload it. Okay, guess not anymore. Get out now. Oh, good call. Good pickup. Get out. All right, idle workers hanging out, all that kind of stuff. No orbital. Where's your third? I know that your third was here. It got killed. As soon as your base dies, you need to start another one. Put like right here. Float it over. Put it down over here. Start putting your turrets and stuff. I wouldn't take these all the way home. I'd have gone right here, healed up, and then I would have gotten right back into the base. Probably in a different location. Maybe here. Just the reason being is because this is to keep your opponent on the other side of the map, and you need a macro on the back end. You don't need to lift at this point. Just open your doors and attack all of your army here. When all of your army is here, including all of the medevacs and all that good stuff, then you can attack right into the front door, and you would win. By the way, this is game over already as a Terran. Protoss. You don't have enough production. You don't have enough... You just have so much money, and you don't have the production. So you need, like... With this big a bank, you probably should have 12 to 15 gates, like right now. You should get, like, 3 robos, and you should be on, like, 5 base. Right? We're at 13.5 minutes. You look at the pros. Games are already over most of the time. If they're not already over, they're fighting over the last base. Income-wise, you guys have like 20 or 30 workers. You need like... You lost some. You need to keep producing. So there's this... the number of workers that most players end at is around 80. Zerg gets a little higher. You usually want to go to like 90-ish. Protoss, you can... Or Terran, you get to about 80, and then you drop it down after you get like a big bank and you're like... Have enough command centers to do what is called the Iron Bank by... multiple casters. I think Pig is the one that calls it that primarily. Point being is like, what I'm trying to say is that orbitals can replace all of your SCVs on minerals. So don't... Just understand that eventually you don't need mineral income. So like, yeah, we're not at that point yet. You need to get to about 80 workers, okay? That's really what I'm trying to say, is like you're at 23, you've stopped production on workers for a very, very long time. You would have so much money you wouldn't know what to do with, because you only have 2 barracks, 1 starport, and 1 factory, and you don't have an attachment to the starport. You can build 2 medevacs at a time on a reactor. Nice. I would have probably... Yeah, that's not a bad choice. I don't know. This army... Since he's attacking you, needs to go land. Like, literally just take this, shift-click, D, right there, ignore it, because he's attacking you. But yeah, no. Not bad. All right, we're going to speed up a little bit. I think you get the idea of basically... Oop, drop all that stuff. Good. Nope, stay dropped. You had the win. You literally had the win again. That was this many stalkers does not beat 3 medevacs worth of units with 2 extra medevacs worth of drops. Like, it just doesn't. Like, even if you EMP, like, you didn't do anything with it. You just... I don't understand what we're doing. This is what hotkeys are amazing, because you could be looking over here and you could be like, I'm clicking 1, 2, 1, E, 2, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't need to be doing anything else while you're managing, like, the army. You could be, like, building stuff, so you'd be like, 1, command center, right? Also, this is going to land. I don't know if it's going to actually kill. That's going to kill all of that. Beautiful. Everybody likes watching nukes. Boom! Nice depowering it, making it so they're doing stuff. Remember, you have EMP, so you can, like, kill all that. You can also snipe, so you can use the snipe targeting, steady targeting. You can just, like, kill all the zealots, steady target them. This is really annoying for your opponent. You need to check which bases they have. Like, you know they have this base. You don't know they have this base or not. This base you know they have. This base you know they have. But, like, you don't know if they have this one. You don't know if they have that one. You don't know if they cleared the rocks and have that one. You don't know, because you didn't do anything. If you're not in combat or close to combat, decloak. Right? Yeah, I would probably not ever have your medevacs full at this point in the game. Like, you're at 20 minutes. You just want your army to be completely running around on the map versus in your medevacs. If they're in your medevacs and your medevacs get caught, you lose the whole force. If you don't lose it, then you don't worry about it. The reason being is like, this army, just walking across the map, unless your opponent has, like, DTs or something like that, which you just have a scan because you're Terran, which is why you have a hotkey. You press 1 or 5 or whatever it is for your command centers, and then you just press the scan button and click on your army. DTs are basically no longer a problem, right? Ghosts are super useful against Protoss. You can remove shields. So you can basically take the Zealot from 50 to 100 to only 100, which means that they are about as healthy as a Marauder is. Right? Also, continue to drop. Don't stop. You don't need a micro and manage it. You just drop more. Get all this on the ground. You need it all on the ground. Your opponent's building more workers. You're not. If you see your opponent building more workers and you haven't done damage to their workers recently, you need to be building them. Also, this Oracle is doing a lot of work. This is why a turret right here would be awesome. And he's going to kill that. You can always cancel that. Save yourself some resources. You need an armory to get +2. So I would do that. Yeah, these don't, like, just unload them. You can march across, kill that. Storm, he doesn't have it, but he should. Could crush through here. All right, sorry, let's go to the Protoss's perspective. Idle workers, check your mineral lines, check your stuff. You're oversaturated, you have idle stuff. Send them to the base that's undersaturated. Build that in. More production, more production, more production. Use your chrono on your upgrades and building units that take a long time to build. Starport stuff. Ooh, yuck. That's unfortunate. But on your like Stargates, you can also use them on your gateways so that you can go build units much faster. Make sure you get armor upgrade. Armor upgrade is the best upgrade for zealots, period. They tank for all of the Terran forces. You literally just want that to be there. Just, no, keep fighting. Just drop. Continue to drop. Like, oh, this is why you don't need them up. I understand. Okay, get out. Just get out of the storm. Yeah, if you had a ghost available with EMP, that problem goes away, or that problem goes away. You could also snipe. You could snipe that. Then he's got to hit you. You have this idle thing hanging out in the medevac. While you were attacking with this force, you could have dropped over here, and you would have caused a lot of headaches for your opponent. Planetaries don't shoot up. If you build a planetary, build at least 2 or 3 turrets. I suggest 1 on the front, or 1 on the mineral line at least, and then 2 on the corners. That way you completely cover yourself if you're going to build them. Idle workers, minerals not being mineral mined. This turns into a situation where this base will go down, and you don't have any other bases. So this is really bad for the Terran. As Protoss, just keep building stuff. Basically, I think there was a note on somebody else posted, for every base you take, you should have about 4 production buildings. So what that means is that this is 1 base, this is 2 base, you had this was 3 base, this is 4 base, and this is 5 base. So you should have about 20 buildings that build stuff. I don't see 20 buildings. I see 7, 8, 9, 10. And you just started your 11th. So you're 9 buildings short of where you should be based off the number of bases you've taken. You're also not fully saturating your bases. You need to continuously build more workers. Check your idle count, right? We talked about that. You have 17 workers that are not doing anything. That's a full base of income. And it's about to be more. And that's like, plus you have 9 that aren't doing anything here. So you have around 25 workers doing nothing. You could fully saturate this, grab that gas, and fully saturate this, and be about even on your production, your income for what you have. I would suggest a minimum of 2 pylons for everything, and spread them out. Right? You create your wall. You need the choke point as against Zerg and Hellions. If he's not going to do Hellions at all, if he doesn't play Hellions ever, don't worry about it. Don't build. Don't worry about walling off so much. But you need a minimum of 2 pylons per 2 buildings of production, right? If I kill this, you can't build anything. If I drop right here and I kill this, you cannot build anything. You have the ability to build 2 robo and 1 gate. If I kill this and that, you are unable to build anything and the game is over. Assuming that I'm able to still produce an income and all that kind of stuff throughout the game. I do like the fact that you did pick up more income. Good job. Your army is absolutely astoundingly huge. It is ground, and you've been pushing your opponent back a lot, so I would select all of your army and make sure that he does not get this base, and then if you can deny it, this base right here. Because if you can turn this base gone, and he's stuck inside of this base, you've won the game, right? Hey, look, you've won the game. He does not have any other bases. There were several opportunities for both of you to win. Also, not getting this gas is important. More pylons. For each one of your Nexi, you need at least 2 pylons. I would put like 2 or 3 cannons and a shield bat, minimum. Just simply because ghosts, banshees, BCs, run-bys, maybe they fly over the top of it. Like, if you just throw down a pylon at each base, and then you have several cannons and shield batteries, you're going to make it so that you have the opportunity to respond to your opponent when they attack. You're going to go, oh, I'm under attack. Crap. Hit F2. Attack, move the army. And until you're late game, right now, this is late game, those units will be able to respond without you losing the base. Also, you have 30 workers not doing anything. That is so many. Send them to work. You will... you have 45 workers, and 30 of them are doing nothing. That's 2 bases worth of income, mineral income, that are literally sitting there doing nothing. Imagine if you just built waves of zealots over and over from 3 bases, and just said, A move to this. Unless he has all the tanks sieged in a way that they are not going to get in, which is what he's done, or they're unsieged right now. But if you were to start hitting him with waves of zealots, I'm sure he would. Point being is that you could easily just, with what you have available to you, take out your opponent without even really thinking about it. You did grab those workers. Cool. You didn't grab all of them. Gases are empty and you're not gathering it. Okay. So what I'm going to suggest is for you to say, I need a plan. What is my plan? Are you going to end the game by doing this, that, or whatever, right? Are you going ground? Which, oh my god, you're going ground. It's such a big army. Also, A move. You just A click in space. Don't A click specific targets. Because what happens is when you, I love it. He's in the grass, so you need to, come down here. But if you A click, you click here, it will engage every unit you run into. A click is literally clicking attack in the corner here, and then clicking the space, or clicking A on your keyboard and then clicking. So using your keyboard, this is a 2-hand game for sure. You've put your opponent into 1 base. They've been in 1 base forever. You have a fully maxed out everything. They don't even have 100. So where is your everything? This should be attacking. These should be attacking. That should be attacking. This probe is idle again. These should be attacking. Well, this should be close, so you can use your warp gates that 20 or 30 you should have at this point. So that way you can be right here warping in zealots as you lose army. That would be so wild. I would suggest moving up the ramp like you just did to A move everything so you don't get choked, because if he had put his tanks in a semicircle, he could just eat through everything you have. Clearly you guys are having fun, and that's important. He just chunked 40 supply. You should be replacing it instantly. Right? Where's your instant supply replacement? You have going War Prism right here in phasing mode, and you just drop all the zealots. Hotkey your warp gates, go Z, and then you're good, right? You just drop all the zealots, and then he would be gone. Game would be over. He's clearly on 1 base. I like this planetary, way over here versus on location, and this orbital not moving, and him taking all of his army that are Marines and stuff and putting them in the low health medevac. These are just things that you don't want to do. But yeah, this command center should be nestled in the right location. And you can see, look, if those were on the ground, he would have been able to kill all that versus just losing them for free. I would also focus on the medevacs first, personally, because they heal Marines, and you don't want them to have Marines that are healed. The tanks are non-consequential because you have air. At the end of the day, this game is over because of these void rays. They're just going to literally kill everything. So, at this, your friend needs to GG, and you just killed off all the tanks. So just click your army in F2. If you just took everything and attack moved with it, you'd win. Just everything. F2, that's select all army units, then A, and then you click, and your entire army would go engage anything and everything and go try and end the game for you. Alright, so good. You're playing the game. Bad. You're learning the game. It's not fair to say bad in this, because both players are still. This is what I would imagine bronze players looks like, or an early silver player. Basically, you understand some of the units, you understand strategies to like try to get to the end game. You know how to do some very good pressure things here and there. So the medevac drops, the Oracle, you're just like literal minutes behind. In the game of StarCraft, there's 4 resources: attention, time, minerals, and gas. And if you want to argue about it, you could say there's supply as a 5th. So right now, you are doing a good job of gathering the 2 primary resources that are visible to you easily, which is minerals and gas. It's at a slower rate and later than everybody else, so you need to expand faster. You need to follow kind of a build. Basically, I want to have 1 barracks, 2 command centers, then I go into my 2nd barracks, then I get my factory, etc. Right? You have to have a standard build. As Protoss, you want to have, I'm going to go Sky, I'm going to go Gateways, or I'm going to go Robo. Pick one, doesn't matter. If you go Gateway, you need to be getting Charge or Blink. You need to get as soon as you can, you need to have at least 4 gates. You want to probably have a Robo attached to that and have a Warp Prism, so that way you can warp in on the other side of the map, inside of their base or along right next to it, and pressure very early. As for you just basically need that plan, whatever that plan ends up being. Yeah, you had I ultimately want to do this, but imagine if you had BCs against the army you had. What happens to all those immortals? Imagine if all those tanks were sieged in a semicircle, locking the ramp in place. They would have never made it up the ramp, and that army is useless, and all of your ground units are gone. And you had no alternative attack vector. You did not have enough production to replace everything you lost. You didn't scout what army he had before you walked in, etc. Like, there are things that both of you could have done to improve and see what happened and all that kind of stuff. He could have scanned. He could have... you could have sent an observer in. You could have sent a Phoenix that's illusioned. You could have your Oracle Revelate. You have a lot of different ways to see what's up that ramp before you walk into what could ultimately be death. That being said, you walked through and you made it, and you killed all of his production, and you won the game. So, no big deal there, right? As for the Terran, he should rally his units towards the front of his bases. He should make sure that he spread his siege tanks out sufficiently. You don't want to be able to get stormed or have zealots literally dropped out of a Warp Prism on top of them. You want to have them spread out, so that way you can have your siege tanks shoot at units that are close to them. 2-3 hexes, the little squares apart, and you want to have a deep field of them. It's going to make it very, very difficult for your opponent, and you just replace the ones that you lose when that's happening. You guys need more bases much faster, period. Like, you just need more bases. Like, the Terran, you were on a maximum of 3 bases. You lost your 3rd, and you never replaced it. The Protoss, you did a really good job. Phantom, good job on expanding and grabbing lots and lots of bases. Downside is that you never actually saturated, so you didn't go look at your main and say, oh, I'm out of resources here. Oh, let me hit my button that shows up on my command card for the mini-map that I should be checking every couple of seconds. Every 5 seconds you should be looking at the mini-map, maybe more often than that. And you need to look to see if you have idle workers. That's part of the little checks that you do while you're playing the game. Just like when you're getting close to supply, you build an extra pylon or supply depot or overlord or whatever it is, or several, depending on what stage of the game is, what your production looks like, all that kind of stuff. Your pylons, spread them out, right? Put them on either side of the gateways versus having just one supporting all of them. Imagine if you had 4 or 5 of them, you couldn't lose that one pylon and lose production. Same at the front. If you had put down 2 or 3, obviously you put down 2, obviously he nuked and cleared 2 of them. But if you had put them in separate spread out locations, he couldn't have killed them with the nuke. It would have just damaged their shields, and you wouldn't have lost that production for that period of time. So you'd add the pylons at the front and another pylon back on the backside of where your robos were. And guess what? You know that entire line of supply that you had on the backside of your base? That becomes suddenly 3. And those 3 could be spotter pylons in the middle of the map, and you could save a little bit of gas and a little bit of supply for your army, so you could have a bigger army and had spotter pylons around the map. In addition, you could also have more pylons on your expansions, so that way you could have cannons and batteries, making it so that when you get attacked, that you don't actually lose those. You have some time to respond, and you also aren't devastated if somebody were to do a drop and kill all those pylons in the back of your base, right? Because it's entirely possible that a Terran will drop in your main and block off your ramp by putting down 3 tanks, a bunch of Marauders, and a bunch of Marines, and then have another squad just clearing out all of your production and internalizing, destroying your internals in your main. That's why you want to kind of spread your units out. Like, I like to have my first 4 or 5 gates between my first, second, and third base. I do not want them all on my main. Because if they land there and they kill my production there, I don't want to be so hampered when I get from that attack that I cannot respond to my opponent and come back. I mean, the good is that you guys are enjoying yourselves. Don't lose that. Don't take this as any criticism beyond that. Like, that's so important that you're enjoying what you're doing in the game and you're having a lot of fun. I hope that you don't get yourself in a situation where you're like, oh, this sucks. I'm getting so good, but I'm still bad. Diamond players are still bad. You have to enjoy the game. Okay. But yeah, like putting a cannon in each one of your mineral lines would prevent a Banshee from coming in and killing you. Just like your Oracle went in and killed his line, which was so good. He was actually doing really well, relatively speaking, until that Oracle showed up, and then he cut his income by like 80%. It wasn't that bad. It was like probably 60%. 60% loss of income at 7.5 minutes is like, you quit in the game on if you're doing that. If you're playing at a GM level, you're out before you lose 40% or 25%, and you don't have an army that is countering and doing damage and destroying them. You quit out, right? Obviously, as you get better and more efficient and more effective and understand the game much better, those things play out and are important. But like, understanding that like you guys played through a lot of things that a lot of other people would just straight up quit over, including me. I would have quit. If your Oracle came in, I would take my entire army and everything I have and attack once. And if I didn't do about the same amount of damage, I would quit. I would have ended that game because I know that I'm going to be far behind my opponent because they're going to continue to build more workers. They're going to continue to build more army. They're going to be able to... I have to like tooth and claw my way back into the game. And if I have to tooth and claw my way back into the game and they already gutted me like that, it's going to be a really long, stressful game. And I might actually play that. I might play it out. But it's just like one of those things where it's like, oh, that's tough. And vice versa. Like, when he dropped into your base and he killed all your workers and stuff in your main, that hurts. Hurts a lot. To be fair, you'd already done the damage, so I wouldn't have quit out if I got hit like that. But he should have taken out that pylon for your production and then just started to kill you. There's also a lot of times where he should have just sat there and fought. He would have easily... If he didn't pick up his medevacs, oh boy. If you did not get those, like, 3 or 4 stalker kills on the medevacs, and he just kept the army on the ground and just attacked with his army and actually unloaded all of his forces, he could have ended the game so many times on you. And I think you understood that when I was talking about it. So over micro is something that you guys were doing. Not having the production out, not having the next base ready, not continuously producing workers. You can mouse over the supply in the upper right hand corner and it'll tell you your worker count versus your army count. That's what the Zealot and the Probe or the Marine and the SCV or Drone and the Zergling are. It's your army value versus your actual worker count. You want to have, by the time you stop building workers, about 80. Just to be very clear, it's about 80. A little over, a little under, depending on situations, what your build is, what you're trying to do. Maybe you sacrifice some of your workers because there's not as many bases to mine anymore. Stuff like that. But the point is like, you want to be very on top of producing workers. And you guys, I could see what you were trying to do. So, hidden bases, I get why players want to do it, because if they go unscouted, they change the game. You end up winning usually because you have that much more income and your opponent doesn't know it. The problem is that they're very hard to defend. So when the Protoss attacked the Terran and took out that base at 11 minutes, which should have been his 5th instead of his 3rd, but I digress. That base, like, if you notice how far away it was from the main, it had no chance of surviving, especially if the Protoss had taken a much larger army and attacked, versus just 4 Stalkers, a Void Ray, and an Oracle. What else? I would love to see future games. I would really, really like to see what you guys come up with all this feedback. I'm very interested to see what happens. Other thoughts? Charge lot run-bys. So get charge out of your Templar Archive, or Twilight Council, whatever, not Templar Archive. Literally build 10 or 12 Zealots, select that group of them as soon as they're done building, have them attack into a corner, like a base off to the side, that has nothing there, and then have it go towards their main or whatever from that direction. Then take the rest of your army, that's not those 12 Zealots, and attack the front door at the same time. And you just park it right out front of the front, and then when the charge lots engage, wait about 10 to 20 seconds, and then engage with your army. You will win so many games. So many games just doing that. You can get into Diamond doing that, assuming you have a clean build to that point. All right. At this point, we've been going for about 40 minutes. I did say I was going to fast forward, and we've talked a lot about a lot of different things. And I did not cover everything. So that's why I would love to get some more opportunities from your gameplay after viewing this. Because I'm very interested to see where you guys go. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a good rest of the day, and until next time.